Some wonders are not simply built, they are willed into existence against impossible odds. Every stone, every spire, every structure hides centuries of ambition, faith, and sacrifice. From man-made islands rising out of the sea to temples carved into solid rock. Across deserts, jungles, and mountaintops, humanity has dared to build the unbelievable. Yet, what makes these places truly magnificent is not their size or beauty, but the vision that dared to create them. Join us as we journey across the globe to uncover the most magnificent mega wonders you can't miss. From space, Palm Jumeirah appears like a giant palm tree spread across the blue sea, though its whole shape was built by humans from sand and rock. The island foundation uses no concrete, but is formed by the pressure of 123 million cubic yards of sand and 7 million cubic yards of natural rock. This amount of material could build a wall 8 feet high and 2 feet thick around the 24,855-mile equator of Earth. Deep vibro-compaction under the seabed tightened the loose sand, turning the artificial island base into a surface strong enough for construction. Outside the breakwater, waves can rise 7 to 10 feet high, while gaps 328 feet wide help the water inside the island refresh more evenly. What makes it special is that on the island, you only see streets and rows of buildings, while the true palm shape appears clearly only from above. Looking up at the roof, packed with chimneys and stone towers, Chateau de Chambord looks like a small royal city floating above a vast forest. At the heart of the structure is the double spiral staircase shaped like a DNA strand, where two people can walk side by side, see each other, but never meet on the same path. Although it has a massive scale, with 426 rooms and 282 fireplaces, this castle was originally used mainly for the king's hunting stays. Around the castle is a forest of 13,443 acres, enclosed by a stone wall 8 feet high and nearly 20 miles long. The visual impact becomes even stronger when the 512-foot symmetrical facade reflects on the water, making the castle look doubled among the green forest. From that reflected castle mass, the 105-foot lantern tower at the central axis rises like a stone crown above the whole structure. After more than 4,500 years, the Giza Pyramid Complex still rises between the golden sea of sand and the edge of a modern city, with its largest structure remaining the only one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world still standing today. That giant stone mass weighs about 6,503,636 tons, creating the feeling of a man-made mountain placed on the sandstone foundation below. The 3 main structures are arranged in a special order, making many people connect them with the 3 stars in Orion's belt. The largest structure alone has a refined 8-sided design and a 51.5-degree slope, making its stone edges change color clearly under sunlight at a few rare times of the year. At the front of the complex, the human-headed lion statue is 240 feet long and 66 feet high, carved from one single bedrock mass. Inside the structure are narrow corridors, sloping at 26 degrees, where visitors must bend down as they walk through and feel the weight of the stone layers surrounding them. Within a ring of 4 volcanoes, Borobudur rises like a giant stone temple placed on a land that is always moving with nature. Unlike many ancient temples with hollow rooms inside, this structure is actually a large stone shell wrapped around a natural hill. To stop rainwater from soaking into the hill core and breaking the outer stone layer, ancient builders created 100 monster head drains to carry water in many directions. The whole structure was assembled from about 2 million volcanic stone blocks, weighing nearly 4 million tons, without mortar and locked together by fitted stone joints. On the walls, 2,672 relief panels would stretch for nearly 2 miles if placed in one line, turning the temple path into a huge stone story. From above, the square and circular layout appears like a stone mandala, while 72 stupas on the top create an unforgettable scene at sunrise. No one built this temple from the ground up, because at Ellora, ancient workers carved downward from the mountaintop to create a single rock-stone chariot inside 65-million-year-old basalt. This carving technique allowed almost no mistakes because they had to remove up to 441,000 tons of rock from a cliff about 1 mile long. More than 7,000 workers labored for 150 years to slowly carve this giant complex from the mountainside itself. In the rainy season, water falls from the cliff edge like natural curtains, covering the cave entrances and making the whole rock face seem to move. At the base, dozens of solid stone elephant statues create the feeling that the whole mountain is being held up by a herd of stone elephants. Standing below the solid rock wall, 98 feet high, visitors can truly feel how small humans are before a mountain turned into architecture. A white fairy tale castle rises on a mountain edge, 3,025 feet high, turning Neuschwanstein Castle into the direct inspiration for Disney's famous icon. Because there was no flat ground, engineers had to cut down part of the mountaintop and place the foundation along the rock edge, making the structure look as if it grew from the mountainside. To reduce the weight, the load-bearing core inside was built with light red brick before being covered with white limestone to create the feeling of a solid stone fortress. Although it has the appearance of the 13th century, the structure already had 19th century comforts inside, such as central heating, running water, and a food lift. On cold days, mist rises and hides the base, making the whole castle look as if it is floating in the air. Beyond the royal space, visitors unexpectedly find an artificial stalactite cave, making this fairy tale castle open like a secret world inside itself. Looking up from the foot of the canyon, Hoover Dam appears like a concrete gate 725 feet high, holding back a whole blue sea of water in the hot desert. The amount of material, about 4,316,245 cubic yards, is large enough to imagine as a highway stretching across the whole continent. To stop the concrete mass from holding heat too long and cracking as it hardened, engineers placed a cooling pipe network about 582 miles long inside it. Under huge water pressure, the dam's arch shape helps press the structure more tightly into the two rock walls for greater stability. Because the structure sits on the border of two time zones, one step across the line on the bridge once could make visitors shift by exactly 1 hour. Deep inside the mountain, the sound of turbines and powerful water creates clear vibrations, letting visitors feel the real weight of the water mass behind the dam. As a boat rounds the river bend, the calm face of the Buddha suddenly appears on the cliff, watching the powerful water moving below. The closer you come, the more overwhelming Leshan becomes, because this 233-foot figure is the largest stone Buddha in the world, carved directly into a mountain in Sichuan Province, China. The statue sits where three rivers meet, along a dangerous stretch of water that caused many boating accidents throughout history. Work began in the year 713, and for almost 90 years, generations of stone workers cut huge amounts of rock from the cliff and dropped it into the river, helping reshape the riverbed and calm the current. Yet behind that peaceful face lies an engineering secret, as hidden channels in the hair, collar, and body guide rainwater away and protect the sandstone from erosion. More than 1,200 years later, the Buddha still sits between mountain and river, turning a place once shaped by fear into a lasting symbol of patience, faith, and peace. Far beyond the borders of land, the Great Barrier Reef appears like a giant living coral carpet, stretching more than 1,429 miles under the blue ocean water. This structure was not born from geological faults, but has a foundation built up over about 500,000 years by billions of tiny coral polyps. This underwater world is home to more than 1,500 fish species, 411 hard coral species, and about 10% of the world's marine life. Under sunlight, passing through the water, countless pink, purple, green, and yellow coral blocks appear like a bright maze. These coral blocks form many strange shapes, from giant brain-like masses to flat table corals reaching up to 10 feet wide. Diving through that maze, visitors feel as if they are floating without weight, moving past colorful coral mountains rising from the deep sea floor. No one knows exactly who built Teotihuacan, even though its people created one of the greatest cities of the ancient world. This vast religious center covered more than 8 square miles, with the Pyramid of the Sun rising about 216 feet above its avenues, temples, and open plazas. At its height, more than 100,000 people lived here, placing Teotihuacan among the 6 largest cities on Earth at that time. But when the Aztecs reached the site in the 15th century, its streets were silent, and the city had already been abandoned for hundreds of years. Overwhelmed by the enormous pyramids, they believed only gods could have created such a place, and named it the city where the gods were born. Even today, no written record from the original builders survives, leaving their true name, language, and identity hidden behind the stone monuments. A white ribbon of water, 3,212 feet high, falls from a 2-billion-year-old red cliff, making Angel Falls look like a bright line between the deep forest and the sky. Oh, the most special feature is its 2,648-foot free fall, where the water slowly turns into mist before reaching the ground. This wonder is not fed by melting ice, but by a stone tabletop that receives about 150 inches of rain each year. On stormy days, strong winds from below the canyon can push the waterfall mist back up into the air. At the foot of the falls, the water has a tea-red color because tannins from dead leaves in the ancient forest mix into the flow. To see this waterfall hidden deep in the rainforest in full, visitors usually have to fly by helicopter and watch the white ribbon appear from the cliff top down to the forest floor. The hardened magma core of a 2-billion-year-old ancient volcano turned Sigiriya into a rock mass 656 feet high, strong enough to support a royal palace in the middle of the tropical forest. The top of the rock was naturally flattened into a surface of about 4 acres, creating a rare high foundation for ancient structures in the sky. On the way up, 2 giant lion paws halfway up the rock wall mark the entrance, leading to a fresco area that was once 459 feet long. To reach the summit, visitors must climb about 1,200 steep steps, walking close to the rock wall under the tropical sun. The spiral staircase attached to the rock face creates a thrilling feeling, especially when looking down into the deep open space below. From the high summit, the square garden below appears like an ancient circuit board, where the underground water system can still spray by itself after more than 1,500 years. Built on the bed of a drained lake, the Colosseum still stands in the middle of a modern city, like the greatest stone arena left from ancient Rome. To keep the structure stable, ancient Roman engineers had to dig the foundation about 39 feet deep and create a ring-shaped concrete base underneath. This superstadium was completed in only 8 years, thanks to a huge construction force of more than 60,000 prisoners and skilled craftsmen. Its frame, made from 3,531,467 cubic feet of stone, was fitted with almost no mortar and locked together by about 331 tons of iron clamps inside the walls. With room for up to 50,000 people and 80 arched entrances, the structure could move crowds so efficiently that many modern stadiums still learn from it today. When afternoon light passes through hundreds of empty arches, the remaining ruins glow like a giant stone lantern in the middle of modern life. Thousands of fired brick towers in Bagan cover the dry plain, creating a forest of towers rising up to 197 feet along the horizon. The dry microclimate, with only about 20 to 28 inches of rain each year, has become a natural protective layer that helps many brick structures survive for nearly 1 millennium. At its peak, more than 10,000 religious structures once covered about 40 square miles of this plain. But today, only more than 2,200 buildings still stand. To build such a large number, ancient builders did not use modern mortar, but bonded the bricks with tree resin and fitted them so tightly that many joints almost disappeared. At dawn, inversion fog covers the ground, making thousands of tower tops look as if they are rising above a white sea of clouds. The most memorable experience here is riding a hot air balloon low above the ancient domes, seeing the whole red brick wonder spread out beneath the morning light. A massive forest of towering sandstone columns rises silently from the golden desert sands of ancient Thebes, standing beneath the fierce Egyptian sun. This is the Karnak Temple Complex, the largest religious site in the world, spread across more than 247 acres beside the Nile River in Luxor, Egypt. Construction began nearly 4,000 years ago and continued for centuries as almost 30 pharaohs, one after another, kept expanding the site. At the heart of the complex stands a massive hall packed with 134 stone columns, the tallest rising 69 feet, forming what looks like an entire forest made of stone. But here is something few people know. The red granite obelisk of Queen Hatshepsut stands nearly 97 feet tall, carved from a single block of stone, yet it took only 7 months to complete. Its twin obelisk was meant to stand right beside it. Instead, a Roman emperor carried it thousands of miles away, and to this day, it still stands quietly in the heart of Rome. No stacked stone blocks here. Uchisar Castle is an entire volcanic rock peak, hollowed out by human hands into a fortress in the heart of Cappadocia. The rock rises about 196 feet above the village below. Anyone who reaches the top gets one of the widest views in the whole region. Its name combines two Turkish words, meaning three and fortress. That refers to three rock formations that once formed a single defensive line. One civilization after another used this place as a watchtower, from the Hittites all the way to the Ottoman Empire. Massive stone doors, shaped like millstones, could roll shut to seal off entire sections during attacks. But here is something few people expect. People actually lived inside this very rock until the 1960s, before being forced to leave over fears it could collapse. Rooms that once housed generations of families now only welcome visitors. They climb 275 steps just to stand and take in this strange, unforgettable landscape. The four pharaoh statues, 66 feet tall, at the front make Abu Simbel look like a giant stone gateway, carved straight into a solid mountain cliff. Carving directly into the rock mountain required very high precision, because one major mistake could damage a statue section or an irreplaceable part of the structure. The special point is that the temple axis was calculated so sunlight could pass through a 197-foot corridor and shine into the deepest chamber on exactly 2 days each year. The structure was once covered by desert sand for more than 3,000 years, helping many stone parts avoid erosion from wind and time. To avoid being submerged by the water of an artificial lake, the whole structure, weighing more than 33,069 tons, was cut into many stone blocks and moved to a higher position. The mountain covering the temple today is actually a concrete dome, 459 feet wide, covered with stone and sand to recreate a shape close to the original. The golden light covering Shwedagon Pagoda makes the 325-foot tower stand out on the horizon, with about 66 tons of pure gold around its body. Beneath that layer of gold, this solid brick structure, more than 2,500 years old, has no visitor rooms inside, but according to legend, it holds 8 sacred hairs of the Buddha. At the top, the 76-carat diamond works like a prism, reflecting sunlight into different colored rays. Near that upper section, 1,065 golden bells and 420 silver bells create a ringing sound whenever the wind passes through. Around the base of the tower, 64 smaller gilded stupas stand out on the marble floor, which still feels comfortable even when the outdoor temperature reaches 104 degrees Fahrenheit. That shining layer of gold does not come from the state treasury, but was built up by ordinary people through their own donations across many generations. Fog often covers the height of more than 2,297 feet, making Christ the Redeemer appear like a giant statue floating in the sky. Although it is 98 feet tall and has a 92-foot arm span, this hollow structure weighs only about 1,262 tons. Thanks to its special aerodynamic design, the statue can withstand winds of up to 155 miles per hour while standing on a high and windy peak. Beyond facing strong winds, the statue also receives about 3 to 5 lightning strikes each year, and one strike once damaged part of its finger. At sunset, the statue's cross-shaped shadow stretches across the forest and toward the ocean, Standing right below the statue, the narrow viewing angle forces visitors to look upward, making the wide open arms seem to embrace the whole sky. The 6 bronze roof arms of Beijing Daxing International Airport spread out from one central point, making the terminal look like a giant metal starfish covering more than 7,534,737 square feet. To improve earthquake resistance, the entire terminal is placed on 1,152 seismic isolation bearings, helping the structure move safely when the ground shakes strongly. Directly under the foundation, trains can run up to 155 miles per hour, while passengers above almost do not feel any vibration. Inside the terminal, 8 large columns open like steel flowers, guiding natural light down to the deeper levels below. At the central skylight, the lines on the ceiling curve and gather toward a large, bright area, creating a space that feels open and visually engaging. After moving through that futuristic space, many visitors may feel that ordinary terminals suddenly seem smaller and less impressive. The holy water angels, more than 6.5 feet tall, still look like small details inside St. Peter's Basilica, making viewers quickly lose their sense of the building's true scale. On the walls, more than 107,639 square feet of bright images are not painted but handmade from millions of tiny stone and colored glass pieces. The central dome weighs about 15,432 tons and is kept stable by 4 large iron chains hidden inside the base of the dome. Right below, it stands a dark, bronze altar canopy, 95 feet high, making the sacred space feel even more overwhelming. From the high windows, beams of light shine down onto the marble floor, making the whole space seem to open wider in a solemn atmosphere. To reach the top of the dome, visitors must climb 551 narrow and curved steps before seeing the vast wonder open below. The giant dome of Hagia Sophia has survived nearly 1,500 years of tremors thanks to volcanic ash mortar that can help tiny cracks close again. Beyond that rare durability, the building once belonged to the group of the largest enclosed spaces of its time and was built in less than 6 years. The most notable feature is the dome mass, 102 feet wide and 182 feet high, standing on a square base, thanks to pendentive technology that was very advanced for its time. When sunlight passes through the 40 windows at the base of the dome, the supports almost fade away, making the dome look as if it is floating in mid-air. The interior shows many layers of history, where Christian gold mosaics appear near giant Islamic calligraphy roundels 25 feet wide. Although the marble floor is now covered by a turquoise carpet, the golden light from the dome above still makes the whole space feel solemn and overwhelming. A white ribbon of water, 3,212 feet high, falls from a 2-billion-year-old red cliff, making Angel Falls look like a bright line between the deep forest and the sky. The most special feature is its 2,648-foot free fall, where the water slowly turns into mist before reaching the ground. This wonder is not fed by melting ice, but by a stone tabletop that receives about 150 inches of rain each year. On stormy days, strong winds from below the canyon can push the waterfall mist back up into the air. At the foot of the falls, the water has a tea-red color because tannins from dead leaves in the ancient forest mix into the flow. To see this waterfall hidden deep in the rainforest in full, visitors usually have to fly by helicopter and watch the white ribbon appear from the cliff top down to the forest floor. The 18 towers of Sagrada Familia rise above the city like an unfinished stone forest, making this structure an architectural icon that has been awaited for more than 1 century. The tallest tower is expected to reach 566 feet, carefully designed to stay about 3 feet lower than the natural mountain peak as a sign of respect for the creator. Inside the 148-foot-high central nave, large stone columns branch toward the vaults, like ancient tree trunks supporting the stone forest above. The stained glass system turns light into part of the architecture, bringing soft blue tones in the morning and warm red-orange colors in the afternoon. Across the facades, dense flowers and stone statues contrast with sharper lines, creating two completely different feelings on the same structure. Behind that unique appearance, the construction journey of more than 1 century still continues through donations and visitor ticket sales. In almost every other place on Earth, swimming among millions of jellyfish would be dangerous. But here, it is completely safe. This is Jellyfish Lake. It sits on Isle Island in Palau, home to somewhere between 5 and 7 million golden jellyfish. The lake formed about 12,000 years ago. Rising sea levels trapped these jellyfish inside a rocky basin, cutting them off from the ocean forever. These jellyfish had no natural predators for thousands of years. Because of that, their sting has become almost impossible for humans to feel. But just beneath that calm surface lies something dangerous. Past 50 feet down, the water turns toxic, so diving there is completely banned. This entire jellyfish population once nearly disappeared during a harsh climate event. Just a few years later, it bounced right back, proving how resilient nature can truly be.